Professional authoritative voiceover. This is an analysis from Alpha Business Media.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are looking at something pretty critical. It's this collision between AI content generation and, well, fundamental business strategy. We're focusing especially on competitive emerging markets. Think specifically about businesses in Nepal.
Right.
Because if you were a business leader there, maybe in Kathmandu or Lawatpur, you are hearing this promise over and over again.
Constantly. It's everywhere.
Use AI. Turn your marketing team into a factory. Get 20 blog posts a day, not 2. It sounds incredible, right? Pure efficiency.
It sounds like the silver bullet everyone's been waiting for.
Exactly. But the sources we've analyzed, they show this huge, dangerous paradox hiding under that promise. So our mission today is, I think, pretty straightforward. We need to unpack why this relentless chase for content volume is actually a commodity trap, a dangerous one. And we need to talk about the radical pivot companies need to make to survive what we're calling the content crash.
It is a crash. It's happening now.
So the key takeaway for you listening right now is this. That old defensive strategy, the SEO moat, it's collapsing. And AI, it's not going to be a cost-saving tool. It's going to be a value-clarifying tool.
And that's the crucial distinction.
It's going to make unique, defensible opinions the new premium asset.
And that shift is creating market whiplash.
Oh.
The scale of this problem it's structural.
Yeah.
I mean, the very act of using these tools to make content faster, cheaper, it's pushed the barrier to entry down to zero.
To nothing.
To absolutely nothing. And that unleashes this digital tsunami of just homogenous, soulless, repetitive articles. It's not just that it's hard to stand out anymore.
Wow.
The flood is actively devaluing the entire digital landscape. Think of it like intellectual inflation. And that forces consumers, and more importantly, it forces search engines to desperately hunt for authenticity, for real expertise.
Okay, so that idea that chasing efficiency actually decreases the value of what you're making, that's really counterintuitive for a lot of leaders. They see cost savings on a P&L sheet and they think they're winning.
They think it's a clear win.
We need a clear analogy here. How does more efficiency lead to this kind of devaluation?
There's a perfect and, frankly, a painful local lesson from the Nepali textile market, the story of Pashmina back in the 90s and 2000s.
Oh, right.
So Pashmina gets global fame. Producers here, they're scrambling to meet demand, to get market access. So what do?
They scale up.
They scale up. They introduce mass production, inferior wool blends, merino, sometimes synthetic fibers get mixed in to cut costs and speed things up. And for a moment, they won. They won on volume and price.
But that victory was, what, a year, 2 years?
Short-lived, exactly. The market gets flooded with cheap, low-quality shawls that just look like pashmina. The quality guarantee, it's gone instantly.
And the name itself becomes devalued.
The name pashmina completely lost its association with luxury, with craftsmanship. It just became another word for a generic soft scarf. The brand erosion was devastating.
So how do they reverse that? I mean, you can't just say our stuff is real after the damage is done. What was the fix? Because that's the key for our listener, right? How do you build that defensible moat of authenticity?
It was a long, painful, expensive process. It took years of work from industry groups to resegment the market. They had to introduce the Chiangra Pashmina trademark.
Which was more than just a new name.
Oh, much more. It wasn't just branding. It was a whole system. Third-party auditing, DNA tagging of the fibers, strict supply chain verification to guarantee it came from a specific goat.
Verifiable proof.
Non-replicable, verifiable proof. The lesson is crystal clear. When you take a premium good and you commoditize it with efficiency hacks, the value just evaporates. To get it back, you have to build barriers that can't be faked.
And now we're seeing this exact dynamic,
Yeah.
but compressed into months instead of years in digital marketing. If every marketing team in Kathmandu is using the same language model,
They're all producing the digital version of that low-grade blended wool. That is the core insight. Think about the stuff you see everywhere. A trekking company with dozens of posts on top 10 treks in Nepal.
all identical.
An educational consultancy with endless variations of benefits of studying in Kathmandu, a restaurant chain with listicles on the best momos in the valley. Same robotic tone every single time.
And individually, one of those posts is fine, I guess. It checks a box. But when you look at the system as a whole,
The system fails. It fails because the informational value of every competitor converges on zero. Search engines see this. They have no incentive to serve up 1,000 versions of the same bland article. It creates this this featureless gray fog.
A gray fog. I like that.
And good content gets buried in it just because it looks like the noise. For Nepal's economy, which is so service-based, unique travel, intellectual services, IT using this bland AI content it's an act of self-sabotage. You are pre-commoditizing your most valuable product.
This has to fundamentally change the way we think about the old SEO mode. For listeners who've spent years and a lot of money building one, what did that old model look like, and why is it so obsolete now?
The SEO moat was all about capital and time. It was a defensive strategy. You built a fortress by just methodically targeting every single keyword in your niche.
Total coverage?
Total coverage. If you were a travel agency, your moat was built over, say, 5 years. It might cost millions of rupees. Hundreds of articles on EBC packing lists, permits for Langtang, everything. The barrier to entry was the sheer cost of human hours to write all that text.
So the advantage was purely a function of time and money spent on manual creation.
Precisely. And generative AI has just vaporized that barrier. The single component that was 90% of the cost manual text creation is now orders of magnitude cheaper. The moat is completely dry.
Can you put that in practical terms?
Sure. An established company in Pokhara might have spent 4 years building a catalog of 500 articles on the Annapurna circuit. A new, agile startup can generate that same volume in a month, maybe less.
And that's where the economics just get brutal. In the old world, the first company to write a really good article on, say, Everest Base Camp helicopter tour cost won the traffic.
They won the traffic, they got the lead. In this new world, the 1,000th company to generate that same article gets nothing, worse than nothing. They are actively contributing to the content pollution that search engines are now fighting against.
Okay, let me push back on that for a second. Are search engines really that good yet? I mean, Google still has to index everything. Can it really detect and derank this much AI text when it's, grammatically perfect?
They have to. It's a financial imperative for them. This is so important. Google's entire business model depends on serving unique, high-quality information so that users keep coming back. If their results are just clogged with 1,000 homogeneous, sort of helpful but not actually useful articles, user trust dies.
And so does their ad revenue.
And so does their ad revenue. We're already seeing it with updates like Google's helpful content system. These algorithms are explicitly designed to find and de-rank sites that generate content just to game the system. They are hunting for the human fingerprints, the signals of unique experience that AI can't fake.
So that huge back catalog of generic SEO content, the thing that was once your biggest asset, it's now becoming a strategic anchor, a liability.
That is the peril. And the competitive reality is, it's stark. We have to look at our neighbors. These massive content farms in India are deploying AI at an industrial scale, millions of words a day. Trying to compete on volume is it's a structural fallacy. Nepal cannot win a race to the bottom. The only way to compete is in a dimension where scale is irrelevant.
The uniqueness of the ideas.
The uniqueness and the courage of your ideas.
Which brings us to the pivot. If generic information has a market value of 0, what's the new scarcity? What should businesses be cultivating?
The new scarcity is everything AI can't replicate. It's genuine expertise from real experience. It's a distinct, defensible point of view. It's interpretive judgment. And honestly, it's the courage to be provocative. Marketing has to shift its entire mission from information arbitrage, just repackaging data, to being a source of original, challenging thought.
So you're moving from objective facts to sharp, subjective arguments. Arguments rooted in IP that only your company has. But let me challenge that. Are you seriously saying a local travel company should risk damaging its relationships by publishing something that takes a stand? In a tight market like Kathmandu, that sounds commercially terrifying.
It is terrifying, but the alternative is invisibility. And invisibility is guaranteed commercial death. The cost of being silent is now far greater than the risk of having an opinion.
Because when everyone sounds the same.
The one voice that says something unique, maybe even a little controversial, attracts all the attention and all the trust. Let's make this real. A local coffee brand. They stopped publishing the generic 5 health benefits of coffee.
Right. The AI-generated stuff.
Instead, their head roaster writes a piece titled, "Why 90% of organic Nepali coffee is a lie. A roaster's confession on certification gaps."
Wow. Okay. That is specific, it's challenging, and it implies knowledge a chatbot could never have. It says, I know the system, and I'm going to tell you the truth about it.
Exactly. Or an investment firm. They ditched the generic guides to the NEPSE stock exchange. Instead, their CEO approves a piece based on their own fund's data. the three most overvalued sectors on the NEPSC right now, and the one stock we believe is poised to break out.
That's valuable because it's taking a specific risk with their reputation.
Yes. And for a software company, they have to prove they're smart, not just that they can code. So they abandon why outsource to Nepal. And their senior engineer publishes a deep dive. We stress tested 3 PHP frameworks on a live e-commerce site. Here's the unfiltered performance data and why we're betting on Laravel.
So the value isn't in the text itself. It's in the proprietary data, the internal debate, and the willingness of a person to put their name on an opinion.
That's it. It cannot be generated by an algorithm. Which means the role of the marketing team has to fundamentally change. They are no longer just content creators.
Oh, what are they?
They become internal journalists, talent managers, editors-in-chief. Their job is to find the hidden expertise inside the company, in the CEO's office, in engineering, in operations, and coax it out, package it, and amplify it. They facilitate the bravery. They don't just generate the bulk.
Okay, so looking forward, say the next 24 months, what are the two paths for a business leader in Nepal facing this choice right now?
The paths are diverging very, very quickly, and there is almost no middle ground left. The first path is what we can call the ostrich strategy.
Head in the sand.
Head in the sand, it's the default path. It's driven by inertia. They keep chasing efficiency with cheap AI tools, pumping out more and more generic content. They'll get a brief sugar rush of vanity metrics, page views might go up.
But the leads won't follow.
The meaningful outcomes will crash. Sales conversions, customer loyalty, leads, it all dries up. These companies will become digitally invisible.
And the second path, the harder path.
That is the alpha pivot. This is the path of the minority. They will counterintuitively reduce their content volume by, say, 70%, while radically increasing their insight density by 300%. They stop spending on content tools and they start investing in media training for their senior leaders.
They're building an authenticity premium.
Exactly. They ensure their key people become public intellectuals in their field. And by doing that, they attract the most discerning, high-value customers, the ones who will pay a premium for guaranteed expertise.
When you describe it like that, it sounds less like a marketing shift and more like a complete cultural overhaul.
That is the hardest truth in this entire analysis. The biggest barrier to making this pivot isn't technology. It's not budget. It's not even talent. It is corporate culture.
The fear of risk.
The deep entrenched patterns of hierarchy and risk aversion. Pivoting to opinion leadership requires transparency, intellectual honesty, and empowering individuals in a way that is just. It's foreign to a lot of traditionally hierarchical organizations.
Can you give a concrete example of that?
It means the CEO has to be okay with the head of operations publishing a critical, data-driven analysis of supply chain bottlenecks at the Burgunj border crossing. It means encouraging a financial analyst to publicly question a new government economic policy.
And leaders are afraid of that. They fear regulatory backlash, supplier anger, their own boards.
Of course they do. But here's the final choice they face. The company that silences its internal experts for fear of controversy will be decimated by the company that empowers them to become public intellectuals. The digital marketplace is no longer rewarding safety, it's rewarding bravery.
That's a powerful and, frankly, an unsettling conclusion. The old strategy, the one built on volume and keywords, is collapsing. Digital relevance and commercial survival now belongs only to those who have the culture and the conviction to trade in unique, experience-driven intellectual property.
Absolutely. The marketing department as a siloed function is facing an existential crisis. Its future, and the company's future, belongs to a culture that champions courageous, data-backed opinion. So here's the final thought for you to take away. Since your content's value is now rooted in the courage of your ideas, how ready are you structurally and culturally to champion an opinion that might invite public debate or even controversy?